Hey everybody, it's Sixon. I thought it would be fun today to take a look at this Heaven's Champion spec. To do this spec, what we're looking at is pulling out as much holy damage as we can and using the Akarat's Champion rally ability to constantly bring up the cooldowns and work that in so that you can just almost spam out a Heaven's Fury of the Blessed Ground or Ascendancy type. So what you're looking at is you're going to start off with moves. You're using as much holy as you can because it all relates back to using the Holy Cause passive ability, because not only do you want to pull that extra 10% damage, but you also really want to pull out that 1% life, max life heal every time you do damage. So every time you do that, you're getting this health pack, which is just going to allow you to stay in the fight longer. And when you get up to the higher torments, that actually becomes an issue. How can I stay in the fight? How can I ignore the ground effects for a little bit longer? And one of the ways to do it on the Crusader is to outpace it with heals. So to do this spec, what we're looking at is using a primary ability like Slash with Zeal. This gives us the attack speed bonus as well as hitting multiple targets with holy damage every time and generating that wrath, albeit only 5 per attack. Well, honestly, you're not going to find that much better in any of the Crusader wrath builders. For an expender, we're going to look at right now, since 2.0.4, you get it, newest patch came out today, in fact. We're looking at using a shield bash this time. Right now, Shattered Shield on Blessed Shield is broken. If you use it, you will instantly die. It ping-pongs around like 4 targets, and then you fall over dead. Which maybe is funny once, unless you're a hardcore character. Using Shield Bash Pound, this brings out 740% weapon damage, plus 500 shield block chance as holy damage. Another big key, and one of the reasons that I really enjoy using this, is that it allows you to charge at your enemy. So you have an 8-yard charge, which is less than the other ones, which I believe are 12, if I remember off the top of my head. But the impact when you get there is much greater, albeit channeled into a smaller area. So this is more of a single target hit, but it pulls out considerable damage per hit. A lot of people really like using Blessed Hammers. I personally don't. I don't really just enjoy them as a spell. They are still good. The amount of damage that you pull out per wrath point spent is very high. But I just don't enjoy how they play. So I don't end up using them. If that works for you, that's great. Go ahead and use it. So what we're going to look at doing is getting out this Heaven's Fury with the Blessed Ground is probably the most effective, particularly if you got mobs that like to jump around. This gets that holy damage spread out on the ground and does a good amount of holy damage itself. Once you've applied that, you'll often come down and activate your Laws of Valor using the critical so that you can pull out 100% more crit damage for every time that crits. You have that running, you have 5 seconds of that, and in that same 5 seconds that you have Heaven's Fury burning the ground, you have your Laws of Valor, increasing your attack speed, increasing your critical hit. You're pulling out Provoke with Charge Up, adding that 50% weapon damage as lightning to all damage that you do. This can be massive, and you can see an actual difference. When you activate that ability, you can watch the mob's health just melt away. And that's the overall goal. So how do we keep using those over and over and over? Well, the key is to use the Akarat's Champion. Use the Rally Rune this way that you can pull the attack speed in. You can pull the Wrath Regeneration in. You can pull in the Receive Fatal Damage and Return to Full Health, which I use as a health potion more often than not. I just ignore the health potion button for the entire duration of Akarat's Champion. Most importantly, you have a 50% chance every time you do damage, which you're doing damage all over the place, remember, and rapid fires off Heaven's Fury, the Blessed Ground, shield bashing and slashing. you're going to reduce each cooldown by 1 second. Everything except for Akarat's Champion. That would be awesome if it did that too, but that would make this like the God mode spec and nobody would use anything else. So that doesn't happen. But even with the 90-second cooldown, it allows you this amazing burst potential to go even further into this thing. And this is all about kicking it into overdrive. When you activate these 3 abilities together, you're sitting on 20 seconds where you won't have them again, and your damage ability is lessened. You ramp it up there. When you activate Akarat's Champion, you've ramped it up to not just another level, but you're on a whole nother tier, plateau, level, all of those things combined. Put in all the big words, and you got the big thing going. And you're able to push out insane amounts of damage, rapid fire, and just melt away the mobs, no matter what Torment you're playing on. So going down to the passes, we're looking at Heavenly Strength, which despite the movement speed penalties, that is definitely annoying. You will find that it is almost a required ability to use. I've tried using one-handed weapons, and I just cannot get the same impact out of them. Sure, maybe I can get a little more wrath regeneration, because I'm able to slash or pound or not pound, but punish or whatever I'm using a little bit faster, but the impact is so much less that it's just not worth it, honestly. There might be some specs and some builds out there that really can pull the potential out of a one-handed weapon. I just haven't found them yet. I would love to see them, and I would love to play them, and I'll keep looking for them, but I just haven't seen it yet. Using Wrathful is a great way to keep yourself up. This is another way to generate heals. You get your bonus for Wrath points spent. You're spending 30 points every time you do a shield bash. That is the only thing doing it, but you can shield bash all day long. Provoke is generating Wrath, Slash is generating Wrath, and you just spend it as you got it. The primary ability, Holy Cause. 10% holy damage, 1% life for each holy damage. Whenever you deal holy damage, that's ticking back. This is really where most of the healing comes from, and you're increasing the damage all in one talent. This is what you need in your passive for a build like this. Finery is another one. This is kind of an optional deal. You can work another rune in there if you like. Another passive if you like. For me, I'm running a whole bunch of gems, so it just makes sense to pull out the extra strength out of Finery, because this will give us, the armor. It gives us the damage. It's everything all packed into one, so why not use it, right? Other great options, if you're looking for damage, is to pull out like Righteousness. If you're using something like Justice and Blessed Hammer, use Blunt. Definitely use Blunt if you're using those. Lord's Commander, if you're using Steed Charge, Bombardment, or Phalanx, you work it into your spec. This is kind of an area that you can move around and work with to make it build the way you want. That being said, Wrathful, Holy Cause, those are basically the only two that are absolutely required. The other two spots you can work your magic on to make it work for your character, your gear, and your playstyle. Most importantly, your fun. So let's take a look at some gear. Now, I'm not running a whole bunch of gear that really promotes the use of Heaven's Fury. There are some amazing pieces out there. Right now, the only thing that I have that actually has anything to plus for Heaven's Fury is this Blessed Plate of Akanon. And this would be a great set if I had all 6, or heck, even if I had 2, to run because of all the bonuses it gives to Akarat's Champion. That's the kind of thing you want. If I can do that more, this spec becomes more powerful. If I can get a hold of something like Fate of the Fell, which adds 2 more beams to your Heaven's Fury, well, now you can use Heaven's Fury with Blessed Ground, Fate of the Fell, and you're coating the whole area in holy damage. And that is ultimately the goal. We're running Act 3, or Act 3, Torment 3, here with the champion and spec, and we're gonna see if we can do a little bit of damage here to see what we can pull out. I'll see if I can pull in a group together and activate everything all at once so you can see. Now, I'll even try to keep up the character sheet here so that you can see the character damage. Now, keep in mind, this doesn't reflect everything that this thing has potential to pull off, but you'll definitely be able to see a ramp up on the damage table. So right now, you look at it, I'm sitting at 644,030. Wow, numbers. Oh man, been out of school too long apparently. Alright. So we're going to try and get some mobs together, and we will try and get this ramped up. You know, like 2 mobs is not going to work for me, game. We need more. There we go. We'll blast this down, and then we'll head up and maybe do that cursed chest. So, see right here, after activating those 2 abilities, that just melts away. There's nothing to worry about, nothing to fight. Yeah, we'll come up here, and so I got 2 of my moves down back, but we're looking at a 45-second on Laws of Valor, which is long and pretty annoying, but we'll go ahead and try and do this. So we'll activate that. We'll go into Akarat's Champion. We'll activate the Laws of Valor, and you look, I'm at over 1 million damage on the sheet.
Not ready yet.
Coming to these champion backs. This would be terrible if I actually don't kill this. Probably have to retire then, huh? There we go. Blowing it up. Good DPS, good time. The ramp up is insane. Pushing over 1 million damage on the character sheet. Getting some bonus XP there. Now I am fairly decently geared, but like I said, I'm not running a whole lot that's specifically geared towards doing this spec. I have gear heading that direction, but I don't have the ideal gear, yet this spec still pushes out a lot of damage. If you want to take a look at the spec, go ahead and do it here. I'll try and get a link down in the description to the build for it. You know, go at it, have fun. If you have any comments, suggestions you want, post them down below in the comments. We'll take a look at them. We'll try the spec out for yourself. I'd love to see how it does for you. If it works as well for you as it works for me. But most importantly, remember, whenever doing any spec and playing any game, the important is to have fun. Y'all have a great day.